Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. So, the Vegas Golden Knights, right now, they're going through an interesting time period. They recently announced a trade away at defenseman. That was some good news for the Vegas Golden Knights. However, what we're going to focus on tonight's episode of Vegas Hockey Hub is there's a team in the Pacific Division. There's a team in Vegas' division we have to examine. A team Vegas could be playing in the playoffs if everything went right. A possibility that the Vegas Golden Knights, they're the number one seed, number two seed in the Pacific Division, you could face the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs. So, the Edmonton Oilers is an interesting conversation. It's something we need to talk about here on Vegas Hockey Hub. More importantly, one of the biggest problems the Edmonton Oilers have had this season, and have really had for the last couple of seasons, is their goaltending situation. The problem with the Edmonton Oilers is who they have between the pipes. So, the first person we have to go over is the player Edmonton paid $25 million for in the 2022 NHL offseason. It's no secret that the Edmonton Oilers spent a pretty penny to get Jack Campbell from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Jack Campbell was signed by Ken Holland. He was given a modified no trade clause in the deal. Was given a 5-5-5. Now, the reason why this is so important is because the Edmonton Oilers, for the last couple of seasons, had a rotating wheel of goaltenders. You had the veteran and Mike Smith. You had Cam Talbot. There was a bunch of goalies like Mikko Koskinen. Edmonton had a rotating wheel of goalies. They did not have a solid, solidified number one goalie like the Edmonton Oilers have with Jack Campbell. So when Jack Campbell gets brought over from Edmonton, he gets brought over from Toronto, given that 5-year deal, $25 million. He was supposed to be a solid, consistent number one goalie. All I have to do is point down here. His statistics and his stats at the quarter mark of the 2022-2023 NHL season should be all you need to know about how Jack Campbell has performed in Edmonton. Jack Campbell has not been consistent. Jack Campbell has not been the guy in Edmonton. 12 starts this year, 7 wins and 5 losses. That might not look that bad, but his goals against average is 4.04. In other words, he is letting up on average 4 goals a game. If it wasn't for Connor McDavid, the best hockey player in the world, if it wasn't for Leon Draisaitl, probably a top 5 player in the NHL, Edmonton would not be a good. Edmonton would be one of the worst teams in hockey if you did not have a transitional, one of the best players they've ever had. Also, that save percentage, 87.5% save percentage out there in Edmonton. Look, when it comes to Jack Campbell, it's an absolute joke. The fact that this guy was very good in Toronto, I'll show you his stats he had in Toronto in just a little bit. But when Jack Campbell was in Toronto, he was an above average goalie. He was even an all-star in Toronto. He goes over to Edmonton, and he has not been an all-star caliber hockey player. He has not been a solid goaltender out there in Edmonton. So it really makes you question what happened with Jack Campbell. Is it a different style? Is it a different situation as opposed to what he did in Toronto? Because in Toronto, here was the stat Jack Campbell had. Besides that one all-star appearance Jack Campbell had, 75 starts, 51 wins, 14 losses, 9 overtime losses. But I just want to take a look real quick at 2.50 goals against average compared to 4.04 in Edmonton. His goals against average has gone way down in Toronto as opposed to what he has done in Edmonton. That save percentage also around average in the NHL, 91.6. So Jack Campbell has not been a fantastic goalie in Edmonton. He has struggled since he has gotten to the Edmonton Oilers. But can you really put that on Jack Campbell himself? Can you put a 1,000% guarantee that Jack Campbell is the problem in Edmonton? Because after all you have to do is to take a step back and analyze his career, and this could actually be a full circle situation. To give you context, Jack Campbell was a first round pick by the Dallas Stars in 2010. Matter of fact, he was one of the rare goalies to go in the first round in that era. He played for Team USA, the team national team. He was in the playoffs in the OHL for the Windsor Spitfires. He plays for Dallas, and he only played one game for the Dallas Stars. In that one game he played in Dallas, he had a 6 goals allowed in one game for the Dallas Stars. He spent 5 years in the AHL for the Texas Stars. In fact, he actually had a point where he got promoted as a first round pick to the ECHL to play for the Idaho Steelers. I remember reading articles about Jack Campbell was a bust during the Dallas Stars because once again he got promoted down to the ECHL at one point. He actually didn't do that much. So despite being part of the World Junior Championship, being the World Championship with Team USA back in 2015, Jack Campbell looked like he was going to be a bust as a first rounder. And then in 2016, he gets traded to LA. And LA was the revival of Jack Campbell. After having a 1 year in the Ontario region, 52 game start, 2.5 goals against average, he finally gets the call from the LA Kings. And from 2017 to 2020, Jack Campbell had a 4-year stint where he was the backup to Jonathan Quick. He had a 4-year stint where he was actually being discussed as a potential replacement for Jonathan Quick when his contract eventually came up and he eventually had to go to the side and let somebody else take over in LA. Now, in hindsight, we know that Cal Peterson has been the goalie that replaced Jonathan Quick, not Martin Jones, not Jack Campbell. Actually, it was Cal Peterson. I digress. But because the Los Angeles Kings knew about Jack Campbell and the fact that he was going to get a payday, Jack Campbell eventually gets dealt to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He eventually gets traded to Toronto, and those stats that we see there was a big reason why Edmonton wanted him. He was wanted because the Edmonton Oilers, like I said earlier in the show, they needed a solidified number one goalie because they haven't had one in forever. It has been almost a decade and a half since the Edmonton Oilers had a solid, consistent number one goalie out there in Edmonton. So when you understand that and everything that's going on, when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, when it comes to Jack Campbell, it's actually quite fascinating that Jack Campbell hasn't panned out like the Edmonton Oilers wanted him to do. But who could be the replacement? If the Edmonton Oilers only 1 year into a 5-year contract with Jack Campbell, if he can't turn it around, then what's Edmonton going to do? Well, I think that guy right there, I think he could be the solution. Stuart Skinner could be your solution. Now, who is Stuart Skinner? Who is the young 24-year-old goalie, Stuart Skinner? Now, not only is Stuart Skinner born in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, not only is he a hometown boy, but he was drafted by his hometown team in the 2017 NHL draft. He was taken 78th overall by Edmonton. And Stuart Skinner, his path to get to the NHL, his journey to get into the league is remarkable. I mean, Stuart Skinner had to earn his opportunity to get into the NHL, but I will say he definitely did earn that opportunity. So after spending 2 years in the ECHL in 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, playing 44 games in the ECHL for the Wichita Thunder, he eventually gets the promotion to the AHL. And he gets promoted to Bakersfield, and he puts up some very interesting statistics. In his 3 seasons playing for the Bakersfield Condors, he finished it off by playing 35 games, 2.21 goals against average, 92.0, and appeared in 11 playoff games in the AHL. And he actually had a goals against average of 2.74 and a save percentage of 91.0. So Stuart Skinner in Bakersfield in the AHL earned his opportunity to the NHL because of his statistics in the minors, because of his stability in the minors. The fact that he had to spend 4 seasons playing in the minor league before he even got his shot in the NHL is what I like to call reliability, consistency, durability. I mean, Stuart Skinner, like I said, he was not a high draft pick. He was not a first-round pick like Jack Campbell was. Stuart Skinner was a third-round pick that the Edmonton Oilers developed naturally over time. Stuart Skinner was someone that they eventually had to build up. When he did eventually got his start in the NHL, he has actually been the better one. As you see here, Stuart Skinner, that's with the Edmonton Oilers, a lot better than Jack Campbell. 25 starts for Edmonton. 12 wins, 11 losses, and goals against average of 2.8. Yeah, for a young goaltender, is a little bit high, but it's a lot better than Jack Campbell's 4.04. He has also 91.4 save percentage. Is not bad for a young 24-year-old. So you have Stuart Skinner, who has been sharing the year with Jack Campbell. All right, you have this influx of, all right, we have Skinner, we have Campbell. We have Skinner, we have Campbell. But really a question you have to ask your Edmonton Oilers fan is if you make the play. All right, let's play this out. Let's say that Edmonton gets the third spot in the Pacific Division. Okay? Edmonton gets that last spot. They make it to the first round, and they take, for argument's sake, the Vegas Golden Knights in the playoffs. All right, they are the 8th seed. They're a 7th seed. They're a wild card team. They barely make it into the playoffs with Connor McDavid, the best hockey player in the world, and Leon Draisaitl, the top 5 player in hockey. If you are Ken Holland, if you're Edmonton, who do you trust to be your starting goalie game 1 against Las Vegas? Who do you trust to be between the pipes against Vegas game 1 of the first round of the Western Conference? Do you go with a veteran, someone who's been in the NHL, a former first round pick in Jack Campbell? Or do you go with a young 24-year-old Stuart Skinner who has never played in an NHL playoff before, but has played in the AHL playoff? He has played, like I said, about 25 games this year. So when it comes to Stuart Skinner and Jack Campbell, that would really be a question you would have to ask Jay Woodcroft and have to ask Ken Holland. All right, let's say it's not Vegas. Let's say it's Seattle. Okay, Edmonton gets to be a 5 seed, gets to be a 6 seed. They take on the second best team in the Pacific Division, which would be Seattle. Well, since it would be Seattle and not Vegas, do you trust Jay Woodcraft to have Jack Campbell be your starting goaltender? or would you take a chance on Stuart Skinner? More importantly, if you're Edmonton, let's even play it out even more. This upcoming off season, Stuart Skinner is going to be a restricted free agent. Stuart Skinner, for the first time, is going to get a payday at the NHL level. Right now, he's making less than $750,000 as a goaltender in the NHL. So if you're Edmonton, do you pay Stuart Skinner the the accurate value of money to be your goalie? Would you go out and would you go and pay for the money to have Stuart Skinner be your goalie? Or since you gave Jack Campbell a 5-year deal, $25 million this past offseason in 2022, would you have to keep Jack Campbell? Would you be forced to keep Jack Campbell around and make Stuart Skinner have to go someplace else when you eventually have to pay? For Vegas Golden Knights fans, people who are watching this show on Vegas Hockey Hub, let me give you your Vegas parallel. All right, let me give you your Vegas Golden Knights comparison to what this goalie situation is. So Robin Leonard was signed to that massive deal. All right, Robin Leonard was getting paid very nicely by the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights still have to pay Robin Leonard for a couple of years. But you have a 25-year-old rookie and Calder Trophy favorite in Logan Thompson. So before they re-signed Logan Thompson, and paid him more than $766,000, which, by the way, he's probably going to get paid a lot more than that when he does get that extension. If you're Vegas, Robin Leonard's contract ends in 2025. Logan Thompson, his rookie deal expires after that same time. So if you are the Vegas Golden Knights, what would you do? Would you be forced to keep Robin Leonard that $5 million contract, or would you give Logan Thompson the money that he deserves as he becomes a star-studded goalie, which I expect him to be? And do you let go of Robin Leonard? Do you let go of a guy who you're paying $5 million and would be a cap hit, but you would let him go, pay Logan Thompson, he becomes your starting goalie? Does my parallel start to make sense now? Because that's what Edmonton is. Edmonton paid Jack Campbell $5 million for 25 million. All right, 5 years, 5 million, 25, 5 by 5. Stuart Skinner is being paid $750,000. He's going to get that payment. So if you are watching the show right now, I want you to go into the chat. I want you to go in the comments. I want you to let me know. Would you keep the guy you're paying $5 billion? Would you keep a veteran who's been in the locker room for X amount of years, the guy you gave a modified no trade clause to, and potentially give up a young future goalie? Or would you get rid of that $5 million and re-sign and give an extension to that young rookie goaltender and who could be the face of your net, who could be your future in goaltending? That's pretty much the question we're asking. Because Stuart Skinner and Logan Thompson are in the same boat as what Jack Campbell and Robin Leonard are. Robin Leonard getting paid $5 million. Jack Campbell getting paid $5 million. Stuart Skinner, a 24-year-old who got a rookie deal, $766,000. Logan Thompson, $750,000, still on a rookie deal. His situation is very similar. Their situation is remarkably similar, and it's like you're looking in a mirror. This goalie situation in Edmonton, in a roundabout way, is also talking about the Vegas Golden Knights. Because not only does Vegas have to take on Edmonton in the playoffs, potentially, but the Edmonton Oilers have a goaltending problem that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to run into eventually at some point. keep the veteran and let the young guy go someplace else, or do you get rid of the veteran and you keep the rookie? That's essentially what Edmonton has. That's what Vegas has. There's actually a handful of teams in the NHL right now who have that same problem. So just let me know. Go into the chat, go into our comments, go onto our social media at Vegas Hockey Hub, and go to at PR Connect Radio. Because the Edmonton Oilers and their goalie situation, it is going to be fascinating to see how Edmonton deals with Stuart Skinner being a RFA in 2023. How Stuart Skinner should get paid a very good pay raise over $750,000, considering his stat line in Edmonton. Now we're going to move on from the Edmonton Oilers situation because I want to get to the Vegas Golden. The Vegas Golden Knights situation. There's actually been a deal that was made that we have to get into. So defenseman Zachary Hayes, who plays for the Henderson Silver Knights, he has been traded by the Vegas Golden Knights. So this deal was announced recently, and it's going to be a very interesting conversation. Carolina Hurricanes, who have dealt with the Vegas Golden Knights in the past, the Vegas Golden Knights traded Zachary Hayes to the Carolina Hurricanes for future consideration. Now, Zachary Hayes is on the final year of his 2-year deal he signed with the Vegas Golden Knights. He is making $805,000 as a cap hit. And Zachary Hayes, this season for the Henderson Silver Knights, had 1 point in 14 games played, and plus 3 in the AHL, but had 13 penalty minutes. So Zachary Hayes, his stat line with the Vegas Golden Knights franchise looks like this. He played a trio of games for the Vegas Golden Knights back in that injury-riddled 2021-2022 season, had 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points, and a -2. In his tenure with the Henderson Silver Knights, however, was a different situation. With the Henderson Silver Knights in year 1, he played 35 games, had 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points, and a +18 in the AHL. In the 2021 AHL playoffs that year for Henderson, he played in 5 games, put up an assist, and a +0. In year 2, 2021-2022, he had 54 games played, 2 goals, 10 points, a +10, and 66 penalty minutes. All right, he racked up some penalties. And in the playoffs that year for 2022, only appeared in 2 games, had 1 point, and a +0. So Zachary Hayes, as a prospect for the Vegas Golden Knights, unfortunately did not stand out. Unfortunately for Zachary Hayes, he is now with the Carolina Hurricanes. He will report to their AHL team after being traded. So for the 23-year-old from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, after being an undrafted free agent with the Vegas Golden Knights, his tenure in Vegas is no more. So with Carolina, that's going to be somebody else that Vegas has let go. They have parted ways with somebody else. Now, talking about the Henderson Silver Knights, as we got 5 minutes left here on the show, what happened? So what's been going on with Henderson Silver Knights in a very recent time? So has Henderson started to win? Has Henderson probably got a little bit of a win streak? Well, I can tell you that the Henderson Silver Knights are 6-14 as of this recording. They beat San Diego Gulls 5-2 in a very recent outing. They took on the San Jose Barracuda. They lost 5-2 in a very hard loss at home. So the Henderson Silver Knights going up against the San Jose Sharks and the Oilers, Anaheim Ducks affiliate. Well, for all people who are watching this show as of now, they're going to have a back-to-back series against the Coachella Valley Firebirds, the affiliate of the Seattle Kraken. And if you want to see one of the best upcoming prospects in the NHL, Shane Wright, who was a 3rd overall pick by Seattle Kraken, He will be playing for the Coachella Valley Firebirds as they take on the Henderson Silver Knights. So the Henderson Silver Knights will be playing at home at the Dollar Loan Center, 7 p.m. on Friday, 7 p.m. on Saturday. So if you want to watch one of the best prospects in the NHL today, go down to the Dollar Loan Center, go to Henderson, Nevada, and go watch the Firebirds take on the Silver Knights on Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Now, the roster itself has had a little bit of a change. Despite that 6 wins, 14 losses, there are some notable names we got to talk about. Because the Henderson Silver Knights, they actually have 2 players who have been performing very well. So far this season, their leading goal scorer for the Henderson Silver Knights is Sheldon Rampel. Sheldon Rampel, 6 goals, 14 points in 19 games. Sheldon Rampel, they signed him this offseason to an AHL deal. And when it comes to Sheldon Rampel, the 27-year-old winger, he was with the Vancouver Canucks organization before coming to Vegas. So he has been a solid addition to the Vegas Golden Knights organization. He is their leading goal scorer in Henderson with 6 goals on the year. Now, the Olympic gold medalist, Sakari Meneman, has 10 assists, 12 points in 17 games. So somebody else in the Vegas Golden Knights added this offseason has been a good addition to the Henderson Silver Knights, racking up 10 assists, leading the AHL on the Henderson side with 10 assists. And on the goaltending side of it, I definitely want to bring that up as well. When it comes to the goaltending, there's going to be a name you're going to recognize. Jari Pekara is 4-6 on the year, and Laurent Brisebois is 1-5 for the Henderson Silver Knights. Ever since the Henderson Silver Knights was playing in the AHL, Jari Pekara, 4-6. He has a save percentage of 90.2, and he has a goal average of 3.03. Laurent Brisebois has a 3.74 goal average. He has an 87.1. Unfortunately, Laurent Brisebois is struggling with the Vegas Golden Knights. It doesn't matter if he was a conditioning stint in Henderson or when he got waived and sent down to the Henderson Silver Knights. So Laurent Brisebois, 1-5 on the year from the Vegas Golden Knights AHL affiliate, Henderson Silver Knights. I just wanted to bring that up because people would ask about the goaltending situation. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to the Savannah Ghost Pirates, by the way. The Savannah Ghost Pirates, the AHL under favorite, the ECHL for the Vegas Golden Knights out in Savannah, Georgia. The Savannah Ghost Pirates have done very well this season. As a matter of fact, they have actually had a very grueling series against the Atlanta Gladiators in the ECHL. So the Savannah Ghost Pirates, they have done well. Henderson, there's been some bumps in the road, but it's about developing prospects in the AHL. The wins and losses don't necessarily matter. It's about developing the prospects, about building up the talent to eventually get to the AHL and then get to the NHL. So this was another episode of Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. We have a fantastic show planned out for you down the road. So stay tuned for another episode of Vegas Hockey Hub. It will be on Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Also go to prconnectionradio.com, the voice of new media. Watch all the content on there, like Cozy Stone and the interviews she brings on. She brings on fantastic. So until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. This was Vegas Hockey Hub. Continue watching hockey. Go support junior hockey. Go Knights, go, and have